I might say so. Let me sit here through I guess it's really.
Office. Called meeting to order. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Celeste, you want to call the roll call?
Marshall,
Here.
Walker.
Here.
Mahoney. Here. Matley.
Here.
Dade.
Here.
Andrews.
Here.
Van Berkom.
Here.
Bryant.
Here.
Greenwald.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Moving on in the agenda is the mayor's report. I'd pass along a couple different things. I had mentioned that we're working on a housing rehab area, working with Serpic on that, and that's something that the IEDA and Director Deb Durham was down here a while ago for. Jim and I are going to go with some Serpic folks and some other people up to Des Moines here in about 2 weeks, and talk about options and possibilities for extra funding that we might be able to get. So that'll be coming up in a couple weeks. And other than that, continue to do the usual work of the city. I know that we've got maybe a public safety meeting coming up and a public works meeting coming up. If you've been asked for information on the public works meeting, Brian really wants to get that held, so let him know when you can have that. Public safety, I know Mike Greenwald's talked about working on that, so that's coming up too. Other than that, Zeth, you had something that you wanted to add to this?
So each year we recognize an Officer of the Year from our department, and it's my privilege to recognize Officer Dunlap as the Keokuk Police Department's 2025 Officer of the Year. Officer Dunlap has demonstrated a strong commitment to proactive policing, teamwork, and community engagement while consistently representing the department and the city in a professional manner. In 2025, he led the department in arrests, citations, and written warnings, all while maintaining his commitment to military service. Although many of our officers are deserving of recognition, Officer Dunlap's work ethic and dedication this year distinguish him amongst an outstanding group of professionals within our department. So congratulations, Officer Dunlap. There you go.
Congratulations, Philip. Congratulations to the proud family in the back. Citizens' requests, citizens' comments. Anybody here to comment on anything that's not on the agenda already? This is the time. Seeing none, move on to the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda include the minutes of the regular council meeting from February 19th, minutes of the Civil Service Commission meeting from February 20th. Certified list of the fire department is eligible for promotion to the rank of assistant chief. Resolution setting a public hearing and approving the release of plans and specifications for public bidding for site demolition and contaminated soil removal at the former Elkham site, Plat 1. The resolution setting a public hearing and approving the release of plans and specifications for public bidding for site demolition and contaminated soil removal at the former Elkham site, Auditor's Parcel D. Resolution setting a date for the public hearing for the Keokuk Municipal Airport Taxiway A&D Lighting Project. Resolution approving a liquor license for L Trains, 1108 Main Street. It's Class C retail alcohol license effective March 15th. Resolution approving a liquor license for Hometown Wine and Spirit, 1501 Main Street, Class E retail alcohol license effective March 28th. Resolution approving a liquor license for Site Food Mart, 1301 Main Street, Class E retail alcohol license effective March 21. Approve the cigarette tobacco license for Site Food Mart, 1301 Main Street, February 20th through June 30th, 2026. And a motion to pay bills and transfers listed in register numbers 5527 through 5528. Need a motion to approve the agenda, including the consent agenda. Move. And second? Second. Moved and seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Passes. Now is the time and place for a public hearing on the proposal to enter into a development agreement with Main Street Keokuk, Inc. A public hearing notice was published in the Daily Gate City on February 27th, 2026. I'm opening the public hearing at 5:36 p.m. Are there any comments?
This is when there was what, 2 years ago? Would have been that the Main Street Keokuk went for an emergency catalyst grant from the state of Iowa for $100,000. One of the things that was a part of that was an agreement from us to do either tax abatement or a TIF rebate in conjunction with the project. The enclosed proposed development agreement would do that in the form of a TIF rebate. We do not have a tax abatement structure that is appropriate to use for upper story housing in place. So this is a format that we have used in several of these projects. The rebate that they would be eligible for through the tax increment financing district would be a 90% rebate of the eligible taxes for reimbursement to the developer. It's based on the increase in tax value. And there's certain levies that are exempt, that the state is exempted, and there's potential that there will be one or two more of those that will be exempted over the course of this next year. But the ones that are eligible for a rebate, it's 90% of that amount would be rebated to them over the next 5 taxing years. I think the amount that was estimated on that was it shows here a maximum of 75,000. I think it would be probably lower than a 50,000, but until you have an assessed valuation, it's kind of hard to know how much that would be rebated over the course of that 5-year period.
Any other comments from the council?
Is there a timeline on that? I mean, like, do they have X amount of years before they can use it, or is it just keep on going till they do it?
That is probably going to be the 2027 assessment year would probably be the first year that would be the base. Well, actually, which would be what would be paid out beginning in fiscal year 2028-29, 2 years later. So then that would be the beginning year, and it would be 5 fiscal years that they would receive that payment.
Celeste, were there any written comments or objections?
No.
Hearing no other further comments or objections, I'll close the hearing at 5:39. Next item on the agenda is to consider a resolution approving and authorizing execution of a development agreement by and between the City of Keokuk and Main Street Keokuk, Inc. I need a motion and a second to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to number 8. Motion to approve the second reading of an ordinance amending the official map of the City of Keokuk by rezoning certain real property from R1 Single Family Dwelling District and C2 General Commercial District to M2 Heavy Industrial District, subject to conditions and a conditional rezoning agreement. I need a motion to approve this second reading.
So moved.
Second? That's okay. Yeah. Don't know if we need any comments on this or just, we're just taking the roll call on that right now, so. Let's take a roll call vote on that second reading then.
Marshall,
Hey.
Walker,
Aye.
Mahoney,
No.
Matlick,
Aye.
Dade, Andrews, Van Berkom, Bryant,
Aye.
Greenwald,
Aye.
8-1.
I'd like to make a motion that we waive the third reading.
A motion, do I hear a second? Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I'd like to know if Ray Bradley's moved his stuff yet.
He's moved all the dumpsters containing metal, yes. There's two dumpsters still there, and actually, they look empty to me. But I've talked to Ray, he says he can get them out of there.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir.
Per the agreement, anything that can, any vehicles that can be viewed from, I guess, the outside, I mean, they will need to be enclosed. So yeah, he'll need to put more fencing up if you can see them. Yep.
Yeah, and I've talked to Doug Hartrick about materials for this. And of course, I have no idea how many feet I'm going to need. Truthfully, I'm just guessing. My intention is I thought we would go off that back building and fence out through the field that way, and then come down the road on the other side. That way, I mean, that's where all the stored vehicles will be. I will have equipment. I assume it's still okay, my trucks to sit there. They're licensed and insured. My plan with that is from the fence forward though, and I guess I just assumed that everybody knew that, but I have every intention of keeping the grass mowed, keeping the weeds down, keeping the front of the building will be clean and neat. The only equipment I'm gonna leave out there is equipment I use, I don't wanna say daily, but on a frequent basis. I've got like a gondola, it's a semi-trailer we haul scrap in. I'm gonna probably put it behind the fence too, because I don't use it, but once in a great while. I've got a couple gooseneck trailers I'll probably behind the fence. If I don't use them, I'll set them back to where they won't be seen. In front of the fence, maybe a couple flatbeds and maybe I've got my big wreckers out there now. But my intention is to try to get them in the buildings. That's why we've got the buildings to put my trucks away with. But it's gonna be mowed, it's gonna be cleaned. Like I said, we'll keep everything that's stored, the stored vehicles, we'll keep them behind the fence so they're not visible from the roadway or anything. So,
Do you have a timeline on when the fence will be installed?
I mean, I'm kind of waiting to see how we wind up here.
I understand that. but-
I talked to Doug today. I could probably have material within a couple of weeks, maybe.
So within a month, month and a half, 2 months?
I'll get a good start on it within a month. But I don't know, I really don't know how long it's gonna take to put that up.
Hey Pam, would there be a timeline that we would be looking at here, or how would that work?
So they still need to go through the Board of Adjustment to get a special use permit. So he needs to just hold off on ordering your fence until that goes through.
Okay.
Because they may have some different requirements for you. Okay?
Okay, will I need to get that resurveyed? Because I think our conversation was, I would like to leave the back of it
Right.
as residential, because quite honestly, somebody may want to build a house back there someday. And that property is suitable for housing.
I don't know if you need to get it surveyed. I mean, it probably wouldn't hurt, but we just need a legal description of that section so we can record it.
Okay,
We've got just an area that we've got outlined, but we will need a legal description.
okay.
So yeah, we can work on that. And then
Okay.
I'll just get a hold of you next week
Yes, ma'am. Okay,
to get the stuff ready for the special use permit.
yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Thank you, Paul.
Yes, sir. I think you have another question, did you, Steve?
So we've got a motion and a second on the floor to waive the third reading. Is there any other discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, sorry, roll call.
Marshall? Walker?
No.
Mahoney? Matlick?
Aye.
Dade? Andrews? Van Berkom?
Aye.
Bryant?
Aye.
Greenwald?
Aye.
7-2. We're good.
Motion passes. Next item on the agenda was to consider a resolution approving the termination of the hiring freeze. Oh, sorry. All right.
Gotta back up.
So, yep. Backing up a little bit to finish this, since we did waive that third reading. We'd take a motion to adopt and give final approval of the ordinance. Need a motion and a second on that.
So moved.
Second? Discussion? Need a roll call on this.
Marshall,
Aye.
Walker,
Nay.
Mahoney,
Nay.
Matlick,
Aye.
Dade, Andrews, Van Berkom,
Aye.
Bryant,
Aye.
Greenwald.
Aye.
7-2 passes.
Okay. Now moving on to the next item. Consider a resolution approving the termination of the hiring freeze. Thank you, Rairdens, for. I'd asked Jim on the original thing, I'd asked Jim to pull up a resolution, to write up a resolution on the hiring freeze. We were in the midst of, we were just beginning our budget season, still had 6 months to go on the current budget. Any hirings that could be made at that time, not knowing what we were going to have in 27 could make things difficult for 27. And so I thought, as a cautionary thing, I urged Jim to write a resolution, and we passed a resolution. Now that we kind of know what our, we don't have everything in cement yet, but we've got a pretty good idea where we're going to be with the budget. I asked Jim to pull together a resolution that would end the hiring freeze now. So department managers have a good idea where they are on their budget, what they're going to be able to fund next year. So kind of came up this last week. Tom Wills came in. He's needs some help in his department. He's going to have somebody leaving. And that would have, we did have a provision that we could approve the hiring, but I'm not sure that the hiring freeze is necessary at this point, with everybody knowing what their upcoming budget's going to be. So
The way this is written, it would, for example, down in the police department, you have 3 positions that are in the current year's budget that are not budgeted for next year. This recognizes that the hiring freeze is lifted for the positions that are funded in next year's budget. So those 3 positions that you currently have but end at the end of this fiscal year would not be eligible for the lifting of the hiring freeze.
yeah, and
But he has one opening.
Yeah, actually, yes, he has one opening right now.
So I need a motion and a second to approve the resolution that you've been presented.
So moved.
Second?
So is it I'll second it.
Discussion?
So is it my understanding that the police department can hire one if we lift this freeze? They have an opening. My question is can they hire if we lift this freeze?
Yeah.
They can hire to replace the stuff that's funded for the next year.
Yeah, so like in the current year's budget, they're down 3 positions.
And I'm just making sure that the police department can hire 2.
Mhm.
One position.
One patrolman position is what we would be able to hire, yes.
So you gave an explanation as to, why we're lifting it, because we got the budget and everything done, but we were supposed to hold till September, right? Wasn't that initially put in till September?
That was put in place really to get us through the budget season, to get to where we knew that we had a budget balanced and knew what we were doing.
But it was put there till September when it first came out. Am I not correct?
The original one did say September, yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm just asking.
Yeah, and the background I gave was I really, when I asked for that, I was really just thinking we needed to get through that budget season. So we weren't hiring somebody that had to be terminated if we cut the budget in a month.
So basically, the wastewater needs a person now because we're losing someone? And do we have a idea how many we're going to hire through task force for the summer?
Brian, you've kind of looked at trying to modify how you do mowing this season to, and it's based, you're doing it, the number will be based on the lower or reduced contract labor that you have built in.
Correct, and that will start July 1. We're thinking we can hire 4 for the mowing season.
Within that amount, as
Within
opposed to,
that,
in the past, you've been
Around
6?
6 or 7, yeah.
What was that? The last?
Historically, we're around 6 or 7
Okay.
for mowing. We're thinking we can hire 4 additional.
Okay, and will we be considerate seasonal, or will it be just all year long? Because we've had ones that stayed all year, so will it be seasonal, or do you have a timeline, like is it going to be from April till September, or do you have a timeline yet?
It'll be seasonal. I mean,
Okay,
So now, one thing that happened last year, you had a couple of different things. One, you used some of this temp labor to like help with City of Christmas,
mhm.
and you're not likely to have the funding flexibility to have room to use that temp labor to do that.
Correct.
And the other item that if it were to happen again, I think we'd have to have a discussion about what we were doing. But this last year, you had somebody who was gone for a full year overseas.
Correct.
And so we had that much reduced in salaries, and we did have higher contract labor for the replacement labor, but it was still lower than what we would have had if we'd have had the position.
Right. It just made that one line item out of whack, but it did offset on the overall budget with the salary we weren't paying.
So, but I think that we'd probably want to make sure that you understood what we were doing if that did come up again.
so then my other question is we had talked about if somebody retired, or if somebody left in that situation or quit or something like that, that we wouldn't replace. So are we replacing at the wastewater treatment because we have to? Because we've talked about we wouldn't replace.
In what aspect of not replacing?
Pardon me? I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I guess I didn't in what aspect you mean not replacing?
Well, we've talked about when somebody left or when somebody retired, we may not replace. And my question is can we go without somebody at the wastewater treatment plant? He's losing somebody. Do we have to fill that position?
Right now, we've been in a skeleton crew for quite a while, and we only have 2 acting operators, and it's one of those operators that's gave their 2-week notice a couple weeks ago. We have 1 operator working on the belt press, and we have 2 other operators in maintenance, and one of them is Ryan, basically my assistant. And with only 1 operator, if somebody calls in sick, if they call in sick, it pulls somebody off. And if 2 people are sick, stuff just doesn't get done.
Okay, thank you. I just don't want people to think that we can hire for one and not hire for the other and do that. I don't want people to think we're playing favorites. That's what I want.
One of the things that we are going to need to take a look at, but again, I think the Finance Committee will have to look at this after the legislature gets done and see what they actually pass for a bill, and see what kind of impact that's going to have on property tax collections over the next couple of years.
Okay.
I've talked with Brian and a couple of his department heads about the idea that they need to be thinking about the idea that, like, for example, within parks, cemetery, and bridge, if we're looking at how do we address where our finances are over like a 3-year time frame, they need to be able to address looking at the idea that we may be cutting one of the positions out of those departments. And even though, like, for those example there, those are 3 departments that I think aren't don't have anyone who's really anywhere near a retirement age. We'd be looking at how do we, if we're going to do that, how do we move people around between departments to make it when there is a retirement that occurs. But I want to make sure that we're doing that over the basis, like on a 3-year cycle, looking at what makes sense for what we're trying to accomplish. Yep.
I've had a couple of questions as to why we can do one and not the other, and I just wanted it clarified. Thank you.
I got a question, Brian. How much is that costing us, the 4 to 7 part-time help? How much is roughly ballpark?
How much would 4 cost us?
4 to 7, is that what you said?
No, I said we would only be able to hire 4 this year.
Okay.
Historically, we would hire 7.
Start what?
Historically, we've hired up to 7.
Okay.
This year, we're looking at hiring 4.
Ballpark on that?
180,000.
That's about,
180,000 or whatever.
that's about 70,000 that's in those
Probably.
2 line items, but even out of those 2 line items, he does have some other
Yeah,
charges
we're
that
gonna
come through them
What?
besides that. About 70,000 for those categories.
Okay.
But even out of that, those are categories that he has some other charges that come through. So he's kind of going to be limited what he can do more by that budget amount. He may not get 4 people through the full season. I mean, we'll just have
Well,
to.
I understand. I talked to the parks people and they said these people are pretty hard on equipment. Like the weed eaters, they're bent somehow. So the question is, is there a way that we could hire? I know you're looking at benefits and everything like that, but you got to look at the other side of it too. This person or 2 people, we're getting all this, we won't have to do any more of that. And these people are going to have houses, they're going to be spending money in the community. So, yeah.
What do you mean hire?
Hire them as a
Hire full-time help?
Yes. At least 1 this year and maybe.
I mean, I would love it. I would love it if you let me hire another full-time person for one of those departments.
And one employee is about anywhere from 35 to 45,000?
A full-time employee,
Yes.
75,000
With benefits.
with benefits.
It's going to be more than 75 with
That's
benefits.
with the
80,000, yeah,
That's with the benefits.
yes. We're looking at probably, for having 4 people, if we can run 4 people throughout the whole mowing season, would be about $52,000 for 4 people for temp help.
Okay. I'm just trying to get away from the temp help. And because actually there's 2 people that mow grass at the Rand Park. And that's huge. I mean.
Well, those 2 people mow grass other than just Ram Park. They travel around to all the parks.
They
We have two full-time employees within the Parks Department that
Yeah.
travel around to all the parks and mow. And then we have 2 full-time employees that stay in the cemetery and mow. And then we have two full-time employees in the Bridge Department that supplement mowing in the right-of-ways, the levees, and other areas of town.
So question, I've talked to my neighbors and we're willing to do Triangle Park.
Mhm.
We'll take care of that park.
I mean, we would definitely be in favor of doing an Adopt the Park program with you guys.
Okay, so
We would just have to come up with whatever
We'd
legal
have to-
paperwork we would
what
have
else do
to.
we need?
Well, I've talked to the attorney. They're okay with that. I'm sure they'd want us to have some sort of a
Hold harmless agreement or,
some type of an agreement for doing that. But if we have someone who's willing to do that, we can have them develop it for us.
If you look back in Laserfish, I think you can find, we had an adopt a park when I was in code enforcement. We had a total adopt a park and every one of the parks was adopted out. Now, they weren't mowed, but they were cleaned and everything was picked up to cut down on the time frame for everything. And they were adopted by like Cub Scout groups and church groups, and all the parks in the city of Keokuk were adopted. So it might be something to look back and see how it works out. It's a lot of work to get it started, but once it's started, it's not. And they would clean the park and put the trash out on the side and the city'd come pick it up. And when it came time to mow, it was a lot easier to get it done. So it might be a situation, but all the paperwork should be somewhere in Laserfish.
So we have one more issue in Triangle Park, is the rocket has been damaged and we've taken away, there's fins.
Yeah,
We've taken them off because one was severely bent.
they're getting repaired right now.
Okay. I would like to.
And then the rest of it's going to get painted.
I would be willing to do that.
To
And
paint?
Yes, I would sign waivers, waiving insurance, and what I look at is probably 3 to 4 sections of scaffolding. You just kind of move around.
I mean, that can be all included in that same program, I believe.
I thought about calling Rick's Restoration in Las Vegas to see what he recommends paint-wise and.
Well, we use, Anthony Grossman does that repair work for us, and he could give us a recommendation on the paint to use.
Because I'll follow whatever they say to do, but I would like to do that, please.
Any other comments on the hiring freeze and the motion?
I think we should keep the hiring freeze in place until the September date, at least, that we originally talked about. We, during the budget process, we made staffing cuts to one department and took positions away. And now that we got through the budget, we're talking about going back to maintaining the staffing at other departments through hiring, but looking towards future budget problems. If we're able to reduce staffing levels at some departments through retirement or attrition and not have to let people go for the near future, I think we should continue to do that in an effort to continue trimming the budget and not just getting to the line and breaking even. Looking at reducing our budget, getting ahead of it for the next year and the years after that. I believe we should, keep it in place for now, since we, through our budget process, forced staffing cuts on one department by taking positions away. I think for now, unless we get, we talked about like there was a provision in there, we could hire somebody if we had to, but generally speaking, leave it in place for the time being. That's my humble opinion.
Other comments? Hearing none, we've got a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Let's take a roll call. I'm not sure how to.
Marshall,
Hey.
Walker,
Aye.
Mahoney, Matlick,
Aye.
Dade, Andrews, Van Berkom,
No.
Bryant,
Yes.
Greenwald,
Aye.
Motion passes. We've got a resolution to set the 2026 Aquatic Center rates. Need a motion and a second on that?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Brian, you got a report?
Yeah, so the Park and Recreation Board has made the recommendation to set the 2026 rates for the Aquatic Center as it's listed on your sheets. Did you want me to read through them all, or have you have any questions about?
Yeah, I don't have the sheet. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
what's on the action form?
Oh,
So,
I got it. Okay. Anybody else want to hear it? No. Okay.
Go through it real quick
Okay.
for us, Brian.
so daily entry would be $4. Single membership is $80. Family membership, $165 with a limit of 5 family members. An additional $10 for each family member exceeding 5. Caregiver or grandparent add-on is $25, which with the purchase of a full family membership or a single membership. Those are needed for children under the age of, I believe, is it 12 or 10? 10. Pool parties would be $200 for an hour and a half, up to 50 people is $250. Same time frame, up to 100 people, from 51 to 100, and 350 for 101 to 150 people, with a $50 non-refundable deposit due at the time of reservations. Each additional half hour added onto the hour and a half would be $50.
Thank you.
I've noticed in the past, that we've had a free day, maybe a merchant bought that day.
That's still allowable. So the free days are if an individual or an organization or a business approaches the YMCA, then they pay for that day, and then all the entry fees are free.
How many did we have last year?
Half dozen?
Probably 6 or so.
Oh, at least.
That wasn't included on
give or take.
that's not included on the report the Y submits on the 3 days.
That was nice of them, but like if you got a membership, but that was great. I like hearing that.
Other comments or questions? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Item number 11 is to consider resolution accepting demolition bids and authorizing the mayor to sign demolition contracts for 1016 High and 1118 Blondo. Need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Pam?
The city requested demo bids for the property located at 1016 High Street and 1118 Blondo. Both houses are posted unsafe to occupy, and we've had and are considered abandoned properties. Code enforcement official Barnes has addressed ongoing issues at both properties, including unauthorized occupancy of the structure and accessory buildings, repeated efforts to secure the property, nuisance conditions, and tall grass. The structure at 1016 High Street has suffered structural failure, including failure of the foundation and roof. 2 bids were received for each of them. 1016, the high bid was $24,820. The low bid was $8,926.34. 1118 Blondo, high bid was $18,850, and the low bid was $8,669.79. Any questions?
So I'm assuming we took the low bids?
Yes,
Or
we
we
took the
will.
low bids.
Currently, how many houses do we have set for demolition? Roughly, I mean,
We, honestly, we just have a posted unsafe to occupy list. I just told Casey, just when she submitted these to me, that we needed to go through our list and reevaluate what we felt like needed to be demolished. So I can bring that report back to you once we have done that.
next meeting, yeah, it'd be fine.
Yep.
So the question was, and I've been talking to some city employees, I was kind of excited thinking that we had an excavator sitting down there at the riverfront, but I was told that that's not ours. Some of the employees that I talked to said they would be interested into tearing homes down. So I don't know the liability. Of course, we have insurance, but just trying to get away from year after year after year, having this $180,000, because I think we could pick up an excavator pretty easy for $100,000, which would pay for itself within 10 years by us, the employees doing it.
The employees have other positions and duties
I've already talked to them. This would be December through whenever they have to start mowing or do their major jobs. And we talked that each house would take 3 to 5 days to tear down, depending on. I've looked up the permits. They don't have to have lead or asbestos certification because it's a home, unless it's a brick home.
So there's a couple different, if you talk to DNR, and if you have a single-family dwelling, you're not required to actually abate the asbestos unless it's a bigger project. There's several more homes in the area that's going to be taken care of, or the city's doing something. But if you talk to OSHA, that's a totally different story.
Sure.
So they would have to do the asbestos, most of our demos, we have went ahead, and if there is asbestos, we go ahead and abate it, have them abate it, because it doesn't work out for the contractors. Someone will call and OSHA will show up, and then your employees, you're fined. So yeah, we would have to, especially with city employees.
Well, with the thing with the asbestos and lead, that's for commercial buildings.
No, sir,
factory.
it's not.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
I didn't hear you.
No, I can get you the information on that.
Yeah, please, and we'll talk about more of it later on.
Okay.
I think too that, and it's because you haven't ever worked in the situation though, but I think too, if the city of Keokuk tears it down, we have to pay for all those dump fees too. And when somebody else tears it down, the dump fees are included in their price, right?
It is. I mean, I don't think it's going to really make a difference on, it would, I don't know what your cost would be paying your employees. I mean, I don't, that's, if there's a plan and the council wishes to do that, that's, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know that there is, you would need to have your asbestos licensing, and at least someone on site would have to.
Yes, and if they don't, they're required to wear a mask. Of course, they should be wearing masks anyway.
It doesn't matter. You're required. Yep, somebody's required to go in and abate the asbestos. I'm not saying that once it's abated, that they can't go ahead and take it down, but it needs to be abated.
Okay, thank you. We'll talk more about that.
Any other comments or questions on the demolition bids? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Is there any council liaison reports this week? Staff reports? Zeth or Gabe, anything from you guys? Nobody else?
One of the things, with the brownfield demo projects that we just are setting up to go out for bids on, and we'll be doing public hearings on in April. It's two separate contracts or two different grants that we're doing for the two different parcels. The front parcel 1, I think is the one, plat 1. That one, we are in a situation, we'll see where bids come back, but we may be in a spot where we're doing a couple of the items that we have for cleanup as alternates, just based off of not a concern about whether we're actually going to have enough grant funding to cover it or not. Depending on where those bids come back, if they are over budget, and a couple of the alternates are, well, one of the alternates was fencing, which kind of, that's one that's a little easier to live with without doing if need be. But another one is whether to do that front warehouse building, do the demo on it or leave it. I'd like to just, if the costs are at least reasonable, close, but outside of grant funding that's available, I'd like to maybe be thinking about, we might need to put some, the local option sales tax, the infrastructure portion, into covering a shortfall there if that does occur. Want you to at least be thinking about that over the next few weeks in case that is something that comes up. I don't, until we get bids back, we don't really know if that's even something to be concerned about. But if that's one of the ways that we end up trying to figure out for completing that project and getting the site ready for redevelopment, I just hate the idea of leaving the building out at the very front, as it's an eyesore
Yeah.
for trying to get a redevelopment done on that site.
And then they said, well, we could take it down, take the metal off of it, and I think that would look just as bad as,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm really hopeful bids just come in a way that fits within the grant funding anyway, but I just want you to be thinking about that as something that we may be wanting to have some discussions on once we do get bids back.
And Jim and I and Emily Smart with EOC is going to go to the board meeting for Great River Waste Authority to try to negotiate a lower
For one of our cost components
fund.
for the demo.
The contaminated soil is $55 a ton. And we're gonna have like 40,000 ton of contaminated soil, which is over $2 million. This will be paid for with the grant, but we're gonna try to get that down some so we can stay within our budget. So we're coming to see you, Roger.
As we get ready to do the budget, we'll have a budget hearing on April 2nd for the tax levy as a separate meeting prior to the regular meeting. That's at 5 o'clock. So remember, April 2nd, we'll have a special council meeting specifically for the tax levy. That's the only item that's considered at that meeting. Within the budget itself, we've adjusted the majority of the categories based off of what has been decided by the council during the budget meetings. There is, within the money that we are looking to borrow, as we eliminated the piece of equipment for Brian, he's really wanted to figure out different ways to how is he going to keep that trail clean. But
We are getting complaints already about it, so.
But with that being taken out, it did allow us to move a little bit between the two bond components. You remember there were two separate pieces. It would allow us to put some more money into doing improvement, or doing the roof and the improvements down at the PD fire station, which I kind of recommend putting a little bit higher budget amount in case for that. I'm kind of worried about the figure that we have, that we're really going to get everything done anyway. And the mayor did want to look at website
Updating the city website.
Which could be done in that piece there too. Those are items that we don't need to have increased, but I would sort of recommend, and I'm kind of bringing it forward to do that in the budget figures that will come out in the final budget. If you want to reduce those back down, I mean, that's fine. The mayor will be heartbroken over not getting the website redone. And really, I think the website could use some revamping. It's pretty kind of pathetic for trying to find stuff. A couple of other items that I wanted to just bring up for thought. The water department, I don't know if you noticed, well, I did because I got a mailing at home. Lead lines, they're mandated after what happened in Flint, Michigan a decade ago with getting lead in the water. There's a nationwide effort. They were mandated to, by the end of this last year, to identify all their lead lines within the system. They have identified, I don't know how much of their pipe they have found, but there's a little over 400 residences that have lead service lines in the community. EPA wants to see, Environmental Protection Agency wants to see those, the lead lines that are out there eliminated over the next decade. Now, we don't have responsibility for private service lines, but all all of our public lines, that anything that is lead, they want to see removed in the next decade. The water department will be working on that with theirs. I don't really know how much they have of their own, but the EPA has also provided funding to try to make that happen. And I brought this up with the mayor. They're providing 50% of the cost to replace those lead service lines. And that can be used towards the private service lines. Now, someone still has to pay the other 50%. I know that the water department has looked at it. They're not wanting to pay for it. But I'm kind of thinking that there may be some value in us trying to help encourage folks that do have service lines to take advantage of the 50% funding from the federal government, as well as maybe put in a little bit of an additional kick out of the local option sales tax. The portion that's for infrastructure is justified to use on that, to buy down that average cost per line. I don't know if that's, I'm at least wanting to float that idea. I don't know if that's even a possibility, but I want to float that idea by the water department as well as by SERPIC, which is not aliens. It is Southeast Iowa Regional Planning Council Commission, that they've been working on with the water department on what can or can't be done. And I'd like to make sure they have that they take at least get the opportunity out there for people to do it. The water department was going to back away from doing the funding. I would hate to see that we didn't get something out there that was encouraging folks to at least have the opportunity to take advantage of 50% reimbursement from the federal government on it. So that's where I was looking at. Maybe we need to do something to participate, but I'm going to continue to talk with the water department and see if we can't find a mechanism to make that go forward. Given the cost of service line replacement, I don't think a lot of people will take advantage of it anyway, but I want to make sure that we at least get that out there so people can if they want to. Finance committee, we've had some council members who've talked about different insurance programs, what we're offering. I'd like to have the finance committee meet. One in particular, we can go through the health insurance. We worked through, what is it we worked through? The Iowa Governmental Health, IGHRC, there's like 50 communities that are involved in it, and that we're part of a big consortium that is able to buy down costs. And I think it'd be a good deal for us the finance committee, to see how we are structured, why we're structured the way we are, and just so you have a framework around what we're doing. And if you want to look at something different in the future, that'll be the spot where you take a look at what are the options for what we can do in the future. Are you the chair of that again, or? Yeah. So I'm going to want to get that group together to talk about that stuff moving forward. Okay. That's it.
That's it.
So we looked at bids for the fire station, or we're looking to get bids to fix that inside?
We'll do bids on the roof, yes.
Okay. Another thing that needs to be looked at is the sewer department / Keokuk Humane Society.
That is one that Pam is working with and is submitting information to our insurance provider to try to work through a process of trying to figure out how to move forward with what we're doing to redo that.
Yeah, because there's water dripping in the fluorescent tubing holder, and they're just ready to blow.
We have some significant water issues down there yes.
Any other staff reports? There shouldn't be any new business, so I'd entertain a motion to approve. adjourn. God, we got to change that in that agenda. A motion to adjourn. Second, those in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Yeah, look at what, you've got a couple. If you want to change how we structure that, we need to get it done.
Yeah, I know. Still says motion to approve. No, I know.
Well, I'm going to do it in pieces.